What's up, guys? What's up? Welcome to another episode of CarBiz Leaders Live featuring the principal's office, where I like to say it's the only principal's office that you actually want to come to. I have an extremely special guest today, Fred Lennartz. He is the other half of Car Guy Coffee, and he is one of the most positive people I've ever met in my entire life. He just being around him brings a joy and a smile to your face. And I love his energy and I can't wait to share it with you guys. It's going to be an amazing show. It's a live show. Anything can happen. Mistakes may be made. We may swear a minute, but overall, we're going to have a great time and we appreciate you watching and being a part of this. So let's get some knowledge bombs from Fred Lennartz and let's get this party started. Thank you. What's up? Let's welcome Fred. Thank you so much, Fred. You're amazing. How are you?
I am doing amazing. I'm so excited to be on the show. I've watched many of your episodes. I've seen my business partner and my good friend Lou Ramirez be on the show, and I love everything that the show's about. I love you. You're an amazing person doing some amazing stuff, bringing great energy, and I've been watching you grow. So, and we've had you on our show, so I'm excited to be here.
I love you. Every time I think about it.
I remember that. Yeah.
We had such a good time. So, I've been, we talk about growth and we've been kind of watching you and Lou kind of grow. And I mean, unbelievable growth.
Thank you.
Tell us how you decided, because you were in the dealership for a while. When did you guys decide to like bust out and sort of create your own brand of delightfulness per se?
Wow, that's a great question, and the answer to that was about 3 years ago, is when we decided that. About 2.5 years ago, we did it. It was kind of a blessing. We started the Car Guy Coffee podcast, which was an amazing, fun outlet for us at the dealership. It was more of a hobby at first, right? Like we were like, I don't know, we're just doing it because we had a passion. We knew we had energy that needed to be let out somewhere, and why not do it on a podcast? It was kind of becoming the hip thing to do in a way, right? I was inspired by a lot of other podcasts and great shows and amazing people out there. One, Glenn Lundy, of course, shout out to him, and so many others doing some big things, right? And I was just like, man, that looks like fun. I wasn't worried about if I was going to have viewerships. I just wanted to do something, right? So I asked Lou, and Lou was thinking something similar in his head. So he wanted to start a podcast well before. I wanted to do my own, but I didn't want to do it by myself, and he was the right person to do it with. So when we started this podcast, it was just more of an outlet, like a voice for us to be able to let our knowledge of what we know and be able to share that with others. Then it became, who cares about what we know? Let's talk about what other people know. That's when the show exploded. But when that happened, we started hitting a lot of these events, digital dealers, NIADAs, you name it, NADAs, all those events, we were there. And people started taking notice to our energy. When they started realizing that we had some energy, they didn't even know we were actually in dealerships. So they asked us, oh, you guys are car guys? Look, actually, yes, we're very good at that. We're probably better at that than we are at being on stages or, doing interviews. We love doing this, but our first passion, of course, is moving metal. It's something that we've been doing for 40 decades between the both of us, over 20 for each one of us, right? And we absolutely love it. So that being said, people started asking, like, what do you do? And then they started following what we were doing at the dealership, started realizing we were breaking records in the state, #1 independent group, having a lot of fun. Yet we were still wanting to grow even more, right? We were part of something that was big. We built families and helped families grow, and it was beautiful. But we were like, oh, we have more to give. And then because of the show's popularity, people
Mhm.
started reaching out to us. There was a kind of a demand for like, hey, we'd love for you to come to our store and bring the energy. They weren't talking about training at first. It was bring that Car Guy coffee energy. We want you to caffeinate our dealerships. But when we came, we started giving them great sales tips, which we realized right then, and maybe it's time for us to go out and do this ourselves. Why
Mhm.
not? So Lou was first. Lou left a couple months before I did. He went out. He started testing the waters. We started building the business around
Mhm.
that. That's when the name Certified Solutionaries came about.
Yep.
Solutionary is something that we preach quite a bit on our show, Car Guy
Gotta
Coffee.
get that
Being a
trademarked.
solutionary,
Gotta get a
it's
trademark. You got a trademark?
that's right. We do have it trademarked. We have a lot of things that we've worked on since then, because we've turned it into a real business, and
Yeah.
because of that, we went out. Lou was out there. I decided to leave, and I was already thinking about it, but my general manager, who is my best friend, and he's now a partner in the dealership, he came to me and he goes, we were at his house. He was having a pool party. And I
Mhm.
was sitting there, I remember I was playing guitar. We're just hanging out. Everyone's having a blast. And he comes to me and goes, Fred, I'm so proud of you. He's been a big supporter of the Car Guy Coffee podcast for a long,
Yeah.
even since the beginning, but I'm so proud of you. He goes, I know that you're going to end up leaving. And when you do leave, can you do me the favor and at least give me 2 weeks notice? And
Right.
I said, of course, right? The
Yeah.
very next Sunday, I gave him my 2 weeks notice. It was
Yeah.
literally, he gave me the confidence I didn't feel like I was going to hurt anyone's feelings now. It was like so easy for me to
Mhm.
leave because he believed in me and where I was going. He saw that I was going in that direction. I didn't even have to tell him.
Mhm.
And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. So I took that risk and just bounced off. So Lou and I, that was about 2.5 years ago. We decided that's when we went off full speed ahead, and
Mhm.
we haven't looked back. And man, the business has grown with certified solutionaries quite a bit. We help a lot of dealers. We have thousands of solutionaries across the country now. And then of course, Car Guy Coffee is still growing massively to the point where we started recently the new company, the CGC Media, which is just the
Oh,
level of Car Guy Coffee. So we're super blessed. And long answer to that question, but of course, I wanted to tell you guys a little bit more about
yeah.
how that for sure. But
Well,
that was
it's a
what
good
happened.
leap of faith story too, here you are in the comfort of, like, how to do the job, and
Oh yeah.
you've been doing it for 20 years, and you love the people that you do it with. You don't wanna hurt them or put them in a bad position, but at the same time, you need to grow and
Mhm.
explore, and this is, the reason why I started this podcast is really because I think owning a business and starting it from scratch is something that is very scary to do. It
Yeah.
is very difficult to do. It's not for everybody. If and I think that's what the message is of this podcast, is really just to talk about how taking that leap of faith, growing a business, how things turn out, the challenges that come along with it, you know, and really just kind of educating people on the real of what it takes, and I think it takes a lot. But I love your caffeinated energy. So let's talk about this, because I know you guys are growing. And you bring that great energy, but like, you did explode. So you started going to these conferences, you started talking to a lot more people, but like, let's put it into perspective for people that like want to start a business. How many people did you really talk to?
Wow, a lot, right? It is, when you are looking to do stuff, there's a lot of people out there that have plenty of information that they would love to share with you.
Mhm.
Especially if you bring this type of caffeinated energy that I have. A lot of people want some of that around them. So it's a
Mhm.
blessing that I have something to offer, but they have so much knowledge and experience to offer.
Mhm.
So I talked to a lot of people. I read a lot of books too. I was just like, okay, how do I get great? Very first book I read, I just want to throw that out there, was Good to Great. Thought that was a
Yeah,
phenomenal book to read, trying to start a business so I don't overwhelm myself with too many offerings, right? Like,
right.
how do I really make this right? Because I feel like I could do everything. I do. I honestly,
Mhm.
that's kind of like our special powers. Lou and I both are like, well, we could do all that. Like, that's what we do.
Right.
We've always done that. We've resourced ourselves to the fullest on everything. I don't just sell cars, but I market myself. I also in
Mhm.
my own BDC. I also, I'm all the aboves, right? And that's why it's so hard for me sometimes to ask. But when I was starting a business, I needed to. There's a lot of things I had no idea what I was doing.
Right.
Like, how should I pay myself? Should I LLC myself? Should I, S corp
Mhm.
myself? Should I do this or should I, where should I go? So getting those questions and those answers from all those pros out there from being at these events. Like I'd sit down
Mhm.
with the Glenn Pashes and Glenn Pash would give me advice. I'd sit down with the Jonathan Dawsons and he would give me advice. Of course, Glenn Lundy's given me probably more
Mhm.
advice than I could ever ask for. And he's always still to this day giving me advice. You
Mhm.
know, I'd sit down with you, Rachel, and learn amazing things from you because you've built some
Mhm.
amazing stuff with your business and you're still just beginning. You're still
Right.
growing, and I love watching it. And you talk about leap of faith. I love what you've done. You're so faithful in what you do. You just have to. You just jump both feet. And it's amazing to watch and then see the actual triumphs from it. But there's so many things like that you can get. A lot of times because we don't have the experience, the faith is hard to have. But when you
Mhm.
have friends that have that experience, the faith is easier to go ahead and just jump forward with. So when you know that it's possible because Glenn did it, it's possible because you see Rachel doing it. If it's possible because you go over here and I see like a Gary Vaynerchuk who killing the life right now, right? So many amazing Grant Cardone, so on and so forth. It's like, what's my excuse now? I don't have an excuse. It's possible. It's right here. I don't need to hope it's possible. It is possible. It's all good hard work is what they did. It's all faith. And they
Mhm.
just went ahead and did it. And they're doing things that other people are much like most people, even myself at one point, too scared to try. So yeah,
Right.
I talked to a lot of people. And what it did for me was made me say, okay, I can do this. And I'll tell you, one of the most important people that I talked to that helped me believe it, it was my wife. Just being
Oh,
completely honest. Like
yeah.
my wife, of course, if anything to lose is her, right? Like if I leave a job that's paying crazy
Right.
amount of money, I'm making more money than I've ever made in my life, and I'm having fun doing it. And
Right.
hey, I'm ready to leave. And of course, if she would have been like, "You're silly, you shouldn't do that," I may have still be at the dealership right now. But
Right.
instead, when she was like, "I think you're right," I told me everything I need to know. She sees how hard I was working on what I was doing, how much faith I have in what I was going through, and how I'm willing to do it. And the fact also is that in the last 20 years, every time we've taken a risk, it's been successful. So it's like, why not, right? So when she told me go ahead, I was ready to go. I was like, let's do it.
I think that is a mantra. Okay, so I have certain mantras too, and I want to repeat that mantra that you just said because I think it's important and I think it's a guide for you. And you said every time we take a risk, it pays off over the last 20 years. So I challenge you and the wifey to take more risks, okay?
Ah, okay. I'll take it.
Yeah, you like
I'll take the
that one,
challenge.
huh?
I love it,
She
Rachel. Yeah,
might
I'll
not
take
love
it.
it, but I mean, it's the things that we say to ourselves, right? Like every time I take a risk, and it pays off. One of my mantras is like, I joke, I'm like, we made another payroll, right? Like, looks like we made it. Or I say, we're gonna make it after all, because
Wow.
it's like somehow it works out. And
It
I
does.
think that it's so important to the things that you say to yourself, the beliefs that you have really do become your reality.
Yep.
Let's talk about some fun things, because I know you guys are in a lot of dealerships. We have some great partners, and that was amazing, by the way. I love your people, some of my people too. But what I want to talk about is, you know, some of the tips that you guys do in the dealership. What, we know your energy, we love the caffeinated, but there's a lot of people out there with great energy. What do you think sets you guys apart from everybody else?
Oh, I love that you asked that question. What sets us, and the number one, and I'm going to give a couple things, but number one, I think it's the obvious. It's our energy. I don't think a lot of people can
Mhm.
match what the energy that we bring into a store. Just the energy alone will take your store up another notch. Just that, I think, for if I was to give everybody one word of advice, bring energy every day. If
Right.
you're a leader, every day, I'm not talking about just in the morning, I'm talking about all day long. Leave all the crap at home. You want your team to grow? Be that energy. You have to be. You are the spark every single day. So there's something that Lou and I have is it's energy tenfold. The moment before we walk in any dealership, we pray together. Literally, we pray together. Then we walk in with music playing on our phones and we start high-fiving. Even if we're exhausted, it's time to turn
Mhm.
it on, right? That energy is so infectious. It's one of the biggest recipes for success that you can have, period. Anywhere, anything you do is bringing energy. So
Mhm.
energy is number one, right? But when it comes to our tools, our tactics, and the way that we do things,
Mhm.
whoo, I think it's that we don't just know the way,
Yeah.
we don't just show the way, but we also go the way with people. And what
Right.
that means is of course, as leaders, we all know what we're doing. Um, we all know how to show what we do, right?
Mhm.
But a lot of times we don't go with them and inspect it and make sure it's perfect before they're by themselves. Because we were trained, go do it. Go learn how to sell car. We're given some training, but the training of past is nothing like today or the way it should be today. But it's also, it's hard for some people to get that way because there's so many different offerings in this world, and for them to come to a place that's not going to give them professional training but expect them to be professionals, it's hard.
Mhm.
It's very
Right.
hard. You have to have a special willpower. You have to be almost military, and I think that's why Lou and I have been successful, or military background. But
Uh-huh. I love it though.
you can scream at me and tell me I'm a dirtbag, and I'm like, yes, sir. What's next? What do you need me to do now? Right. And that's just because that's just the way we are, right? But not
Yeah.
everybody, and most people, and even I actually perform better when somebody gives me praise, shows me, works
Yeah.
with me, and makes sure that I understand it. Matter of fact, the military did that. The
Yeah.
military didn't say, here's a gun, go shoot it. Military said, here's a gun. Let me show you how to take it apart, how to put it back
Right.
together, how to clean it. And I want you to do it 3 or 4 times before I even let you go do that. Let's watch it.
Right.
Okay, great. Now let's write this down. Here's the instruction manual on top of that. So now you don't have any reason why you can't. Correct? Fantastic.
Mhm.
Now we're going to go to the range. Now we're going to give you instruction before you even shoot the gun. So this way you understand that you need to point this gun always downrange, never towards each other, that when
Right.
it's loaded, so on and so forth. They go through all that. And
Yeah.
then they put you out there in the world because they know the way, they show the way, and they go the way with you. So as a leader, it's our job to make sure we're there all the way to the end till we know. Don't assume somebody knows how to do something. Really know. So we inspect all that stuff. We come in and we make sure that you're doing it. If you're not doing that, then we show you how to do
Mhm.
that, because none of us were trained on how to do that. None of
Yeah.
us have trained that. We were trained, once again, here's your 10 steps. Go drive some cars. Go watch
Mhm.
your buddy sell some cars and go sell them.
Right.
Nowadays, that's not going to work in 98% of people you hire. It's not going to work. They're not going to want to stay long. They're going to leave and they're going to think it's a joke. Like, it's a joke. You want me to work these hours? You want me to do all this stuff? And you can't even really show me how to do it. So we make sure that process, if anything, is golden. We make sure
Yeah.
that your team is going to feel like they are going to be trained. They actually know what success looks like and what a successful day looks like. And we have all
Mhm.
the tools and tactics for that. But that's basically, if you were to ask that question, that's what we
I
bring.
love it. I think it's huge. It's so funny that you talked about that. I was just thinking about this morning. I read a lot of books too. I go to some conferences and, I have my people, on the trainings and
Yep,
whatnot. We do this is important, right? But I
very.
think it takes a special person. It's not just to learn it, but to actually apply it, right? There's so much knowledge out there, but the application of it, right? We could be like mulling down marketing all day long, but it's like, okay, here's how the actual application of the concept is what I think is huge. And I do think that sets you guys apart. I have another question, and then we got some people. Thank you to everybody that's watching. We love you. We appreciate it. We had some watchers. Lou, let's brew. I'm always down to brew with Lou. I love Lou so much. You have a
Lou's my
great partner in crime, my friend. I
I
love
do.
that.
No, I've known him. I was the sales floor manager when he came into the business, so I was actually the one who
Mhm.
trained him, and he was the guy who took the rock out of my hand extremely fast. I was like no longer the grasshopper after like a month. I was like, grasshopper, I take a rock out my hand. He was like, whap, got that rock, bro. What's next? I was like, I got to take the rock out of your hand now, and I
Yeah.
always needed somebody like him in my life, and still do. I need somebody that makes me push myself, and he does. He always makes me go, I could be better, right? So it's good to have that accountability business partner, brother, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Now, my question, because this is important to me, because and trust me, there's ways that I fuel my energy that are not necessarily always helpful, but delicious.
They are delicious. Not gonna lie to you.
But I want to talk about it because I think, you know, having that energy is important. And it's money making energy, right?
Much.
Bringing that elevation, that excitement, people are attracted to that. But you're tired, you're exhausted, you're worried about getting the bills paid. There's interest rates and market and the news and war and blah, 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 blah. And
Yeah.
how
Oh, yeah.
do you keep that energy up no matter what? And I think that's really important. And I really want to know how you do it.
You know, shout out to Glenn Lundy again.
Mhm,
It all starts with your morning routine.
mhm,
It starts with how do you want your brain to be trained, right? When we wake up every day and the first thing we think is, oh crap, it's already all crap. It
mhm,
literally is. Like you said earlier, the words that we say are so important. When you say you suck, folks, you're gonna suck. When you
mhm.
say when you say, when you say that I can't do it, you can't do it. It's already over. Even if you could, it's done. It's no different
Right.
than when somebody tells me, "Hey, you wanna come over tonight?" "I'll try." They're not coming. Not coming. But when
Mm,
someone says, "Hey, yeah, I'll be there," they're gonna be there.
right.
And there is it's the words are so clear and they have to be it's super important, so having that morning routine where we start the day off with, "I'm thankful."
Mhm,
Glenn talks about gratitude. Don't touch your phone when you first wake up. Don't do
mhm,
anything, so I focus on that. Of course, I touch my phone, but not to look at it, to turn off my alarm or whatever, right? Um,
mhm,
Maybe to see what time it is because I don't have an alarm clock like we used to, it's a different world.
mhm,
So I look at maybe the time, but then I put it down and I think about w what my blessings are that day,
mhm,
when I'm home, I think about how lucky I am to be in my own bed, like, "God, this is an awesome bed. I got a sweet bed. This is
mhm.
comfortable. It's everything I want. No hotel can match. I don't care how nice the hotel is. Nothing matches this bed, right?" And,
Yeah.
I think about that. I think about how lucky I am to have somebody that loves me the way my wife loves me and been together for over 2 decades, and we raised a child together, and how blessed I am to have a son. These are things that go through my
Mhm,
head. When you go through that type of rhythm in your brain every morning, um, even if you don't feel like going to work, you're gonna be okay with it. Even when you show up to work, even when you're tired, you're still gonna feel like,
mhm,
"Ah, it's gonna be a good day today," because it's how with the words we speak, it's what we think, right?
mhm,
The energy that we wanna attract. I believe in that. I believe
mhm,
frequencies, energies that we put into this universe are what we're gonna get back. So if we want a lot of great energy to come towards you, you have to send out a lot of great energy waves. And in order to do that, you have to start with gratitude. So starting
yeah,
with gratitude is probably the first thing that I would tell everybody, and I still do, and I actually do tell this to everybody, is that please do that. If you do that every single time, your days will get better. I'm not saying it's the cure all, heal all. I still have bad days. I still get grind. I still get a little, hangry, need a Snickers, all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
But it's so much less than it was before. I used to hate waking up. I was the guy that would tell you, "I'm not a morning person." If you said, "Let's go do
mhm,
something at 7 in the morning," I would tell you, "You're out of control." Right?
right,
No freaking way. Now I'm like, "Let's do it." I can't wait. I can't wait to wake up. I have a beautiful day to wake up to tomorrow. It's gonna be great. I have so many opportunities, and who knows who I'm gonna talk to tomorrow because I'm out there putting out so many amazing vibes that I'm gonna get a positive vibe in. And I honestly believe that's the freaking truth, and that's the way that it all works. Like, it sounds so simple. Just think about
it is,
gratitude this morning, but it is that simple,
it
and
is,
it
and
is.
I will tell you too that I've been writing a gratitude list, and it's so important. Now, I wanna give you my gratitude list tip for everybody, okay?
Do it,
So,
bring it.
you ready for my gratitude list tip? I've written one now for the last every day. No, I don't never miss that
It's
one.
amazing. It's
All
amazing.
right. So my tip on that one is to write things that you have and then write things that you don't have yet that you want to manifest.
Yep.
And so
I
um,
love it.
one
I
of the
love
things that I write every day is I'm happy and grateful for unexpected money. And then I can't begin to tell you how many times that thing just showed up right when I needed it. So that's
power.
my tip for you guys. Unexpected money on your gratitude list. All right. So let's talk about
Love it.
and this show has flown by so fast. Oh my God. I can't believe it's almost we never know. We would never know. It's been amazing. All right. So for those people out there that and I really want you to center on this, that let's give some advice for some people that want to take a leap of faith, that want to start their own thing. Let's give them some words of advice if they're like, "Ugh, I don't know if I should do it." Let's go. I want to hear it.
Wow. I got some really good advice on that. I'll give you my blueprint. Start off whatever you want to do. Spend 30 minutes a night educating yourself a little bit by little bit. Don't
Mhm.
overwhelm yourself with too much. And there's going to be some nights you're going to do hours of it, and that's okay. But don't overwhelm yourself with it because it could be like a lot. Take notes, but educate. Because one thing that happens with education is that you get more of that confidence, right? The thing that stops most people from going into business for themselves is they don't understand how to do it, or they don't believe it's possible. So educate. 30 minutes, YouTube videos, right? YouTube videos are amazing. There's so much information, or just Google it. Another thing you can do is get on a 30-minute phone call with somebody who's doing something similar to what you're doing.
Love that. I
People,
love it. That's a
successful
great tip.
people, successful people love to tell people how they got there. They don't, it's not a secret. They want more people up there because the more successful people there are on this planet, the more fun you can have with others. Right? It's cool. And it's a legacy thing too. Because when you could pass on a tip to somebody and they actually use it, and that horse drinks that water and they actually get hydrated, it's the best feeling in the world. It feels great. I don't need dollars for that. That I will be fulfilled and be able to live in my life just feeling great, right? So 30 minutes. If you do this every single day, after 30 days, you're going to be so much further ahead of that education of that type of subject or whatever business you want that you're going to feel confident enough to take a step. You're going to take a big step, maybe multiple steps, but you'll be confident. The thing is, once again, it's just the uneducation or the misconception or the unknown that stop us. As soon as you get educated on it, you'll believe it and you'll go for it. And I'm going to tell you, it does take a leap of faith, and there's still going to be some worry. But folks, if you know you and you know that you're a hard worker, just put the work in. God provides. He does. It's maybe not the way that you think, but he will provide. Good work with good faith without good works is dead. So let's just put good work together, and all the faith you have will manifest into all the dreams. But you got to believe. You got to dream. You got to say it out loud. Like she says, write a list of gratitude, but also write a list of things that you want. Steve Harvey talks about the 300 list, right? I don't know if you've heard of this, but write down 300 things that you want. Big things. It's hard. If you try to do it right now, every one of you all watching this right now, if you try to do that right now, you wouldn't know how to write down 300 things that you want that you don't have right now. You wouldn't even know. I couldn't. It took me forever to get to 100. I got to like
I'm gonna
30
try
and I was
that
like,
one actually.
you need to watch it. Google this.
Yeah.
Steve Harvey's 300 list, and I promise you it'll inspire you. And what's crazy is those things come true because you're writing it down, you think about it, and you visualize it. But once again, it's because you're learning about it. So
Mhm.
what we tend to become is what we pay attention to. So 30 minutes a day, that's all it took for me to be able to do half the stuff. I learned how to play guitar 30 minutes a day. I learned how to
That's so
start
cool.
a podcast, how to create a podcast, how to put one out, what kind of equipment to get, how to start a business, how to do 401ks, how to do all this stuff, how to invest in cryptocurrency, how to invest in stock market. I learned all
Yeah.
this by doing it 30 minutes a day. That's all I spent.
Love
I
it.
would just, at the end of the night, my wife would be half asleep. She ain't paying attention. I just jump on a YouTube video, started paying attention. How do I start this? And
Yeah.
it's out there, I promise. And you'll get inspired, folks. And you'll see people that you can't believe are doing it that are 10 years ahead of you. And you're like, man, I should have done this 10 years ago. It'll happen.
You had some really thank you so much for that. It was amazing. I do write a wants and needs list, but it doesn't have 300 on it.
It's hard.
Everything has came true on, by the way, a lot, even down to the number. It's crazy.
I believe.
But one of the things you said something about successful people always want to help other people have more success. And that was, I've taken a lot of criticism from people. And I learned the other day that somebody more successful than you will never criticize you. They always want to bring you up. So if you're ever, the facade, the this, the that, but if somebody is really truly more successful than you, they will never really try to put you down. And when I learned that, and I thought about all those people out there that, I felt like, you know, either rejected me or this or that or whatever, I was just like, "Oh, light bulb, okay." And that was some great advice that I got, lesson learned over a long period of time. And I just think that is the absolute truth. People
It
really
is.
do want to see you grow and be successful.
Fact.
Okay. How do we get in touch with the brew? I want to call it the Brutionaries. The Brutionaries.
Hey, why not? That's the
Can
first time right here.
we
Bruce
trademark
Perry.
that
I love
one?
it. Oh, it's super simple. You can always call me. I'm 270-872-9277. If I don't answer, just text me or leave me a voicemail. I will reach back out to you as soon as possible. Fred at carguycoffee.com. You could always go to any of my social media. It's easy to find me. If you type in my name, Fred Lennartz, Lennartz, I'm the only one that'll pull up on Google. I'm everywhere. I'm literally all over the place. So it's hard to not
Wonderful.
find me unless you're not trying to. But
Yeah.
if you want to communicate, if you want to come on the show, if you want some education, if your dealership needs some help, if you just want to be my friend, reach out to me. I'll be your friend. You know what I mean? I
You're
love
the
everybody,
best
and I
friend
love the
everybody
information.
can anyone could have, friend.
Well, I
You are
appreciate
the
that.
best.
You're so sweet. You too, my friend.
And thank you so much for those of you guys who loved this show, and it was a really good one. Please share and like and comment, and we really are grateful to you guys. And if there's anything that I can do for you, Fred, please let me know. And thank you guys again for another great episode. Amazing. You did wonderful. Thank you
Thank you.
guys. Bye.
Peace.
Love you.